Mike Edwards here again on day 3 of the Model Rail Scotland 2020 exhibition at the SEC in Glasgow. It's a special exhibition this year for a number of reasons. One, it's the biggest yet. Two, it marks the centenary of the iconic brand of British railway modelling. I am, of course, talking about Hornby, and I'm joined by Simon Kohler from the firm. How do you feel today?
Over the moon. Yeah, two things really. We love Scotland, we love coming here, and the show, they always look after us, and we always get a good response. So, yeah, terrific.
100 years, and it is the name that everybody associates.
Yes, it is. We're very lucky, I'm very lucky to work for a company with such an iconic name, as you've said. Yeah, I wake up every morning, pinch myself, have a shave, and then go on to work. So, yeah, it's great. And I think everybody we works at Hornby appreciates the heritage that the brand has.
Because there are, of course, competitors, and we look at some of the, some of the other names that maybe go into a slightly different area, maybe go into slightly more detail or different kinds of models. But your name endures.
Yeah, it does, but we don't live off the name. You just mentioned other brands. We have to watch what everybody else is doing. We like to think we're cutting edge in certain areas, and then other people follow. But I'm always receptive to see what other people, certainly new kids on the block, and see what they're doing. Can we do better, really? So it's always a question of moving forward and improving where we can.
With the greatest of respect to you, for some years Hornby was regarded not as favourably as it might have been among some modelers for its possibly populism, or it's more aimed at children as opposed to the serious modeler. What do you say to that?
Well, I know that I think there was a certain amount of snobbery, but there's a certain amount of truth in what you're saying. I think Hornby and Triang produced toys that could be turned into models. What happened arguably nearly 20 odd years ago, in fact it is now over 20 years, we had a bit of a sea change, and we started to really focus on the models we produce. We were losing ground. We moved our production over to China, where we were able to use their expertise, and every model since then, the first model we produced out of China, which was super detailed for want of a better word, was Clan Line, and every model after that we've worked on to add more detail, add better running qualities, etc., etc. So every new model we do is a development of the last one. So yeah, so what you're saying is, originally, yes, you're right, but now I think we can hold our heads up, and we have been able to for the last 20 years, and say, yeah, I think we're just as good as everybody else.
So where does it start? Whose idea? How does it work that you'll say, well, suddenly we'll do a class 20 or whatever? How does that work?
Well, one of the reasons we come to shows like this is because we can listen to people. We have ideas. We've got a big box full of people making suggestions. This is what they want to see. I get lots of emails. I talk to a lot of people, and then we distill that all down to come to a model decision, as it were.
And how long does that process last? How long does that model last on the in the stocks?
No, well, from the word go, and it depends on the complexity of the model. It can take 9 months. It can take 15 months. It just depends. You see, if you choose a locomotive, for example, that's had a long life and also lots of changes, then we have to try and build that into the tooling. So when we do that, that takes longer to draw and therefore longer to tool, and there's your 15 months.
But then how long does it stay fashionable?
Oh, well, now again, that does depend. It depends on the model, but these days, unless it's a classic like a Duchess or an A4, A3 or something, let's say the J36, that's 2 years, maybe 3 years, and then you give it a rest, and then you wait for the demand to come back, and then you introduce it again. So it never goes away. It's just, as I say, not every locomotive is going to be the Flying Scotsman.
And Brexit, has that affected you? I know you work, your workshops and your tooling and your design is overseas. Is Brexit going to affect you?
Yeah, no, the design actually is all done in the UK. Has Brexit affected us? Will it affect us? No, I don't believe it will. We are prepared for it because we do have international brands as well, Rivarossi, Lima, etc. So we have offices over in the EU. That's why you'll see on our packaging, new packaging, you'll notice that it has two addresses, one for UK and one for the EU. So we've got a foot in both camps.
Simon, thank you very much indeed for joining us and for giving us such a fascinating insight into what happens behind the scenes. And well, here's to the next 100 years.